Hello, my name's Anne Simpson, and I'm speaking to you from CalPERS. We're starting to go back to the office now after the many, many months of lockdown and staying at home. So it's a great pleasure to be joining Cathay for this important webinar, and my thanks to Sophia Cheng for her wonderful leadership. So I'd like to share with you what it is that CalPERS considers important in sustainable investment. The first is to explain our investment beliefs. We know that long-term value creation requires the management not just of one form of capital, but three. And those three are financial capital, of course, we're investors, but also human capital and natural capital. So this is how we think about sustainability. There's a financial, a human, and a natural capital element. Now, when we are managing those three forms of capital, this means a number of things in terms of our strategy. We need boards of directors to understand these issues and plan for the long term. But we also need reporting that captures the drivers of risk and return. And we want policy to make sure that there's a level playing field across the markets. So this gives us, we think, as fiduciary investors, three things that we need to do. And the first is to engage the companies in our portfolio on these issues. So, for example, Climate Action 100+ is a good example of that, where, along with Cathay, CalPERS and many others, are engaging the world's largest greenhouse gas emitters, and we're making progress there. We also need to advocate with policymakers and regulators, for example, to ensure we get the risk reporting that we need for allocating capital and being good stewards through engagement and proxy voting. But we also want policymakers to remove subsidies from fossil fuels and introduce carbon pricing so that the costs of carbon are being properly reflected in the audited accounts of companies. And then the third thing we need to do as investors is integrate what we understand into our investment decision making. And one example for CalPERS is when we produced our first report in line with the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, the TCFD, we found that not only is 20% of our portfolio exposed to climate risk, we were also able to assess the opportunity. And similarly, about 20% of our private market assets are now invested in climate solutions. So those are the three things we see all investors needing to do: to engage companies, to advocate with policymakers, and to integrate into their investment decisions. All of this is supported through partnership. Partnership with each other as fiduciaries, partnership with the companies that drive the returns that we rely upon to pay pensions, and also with civil society and policymakers. Because getting to net zero by 2050 is a necessary challenge. It will require innovation, hard work, and immediate action on all sides. So in that spirit of partnership, we're delighted to join you for today's discussion. Many thanks.